Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Moon Coven. Happy Kupala, happy Litha, happy summer solstice. Whatever you are celebrating today or this weekend, may the sun shine down upon you and all the blessings to you. So, as I start my Kupala traditions and celebrating, I wanted to show you guys how to make a traditional flower crown. So I noticed that a lot of witches have been incorporating flower crowns into their summer solstice traditions, which is awesome. I'm glad it's making such a big comeback. So in Kupala, as I've said in my other video, the flower crown is a very big deal. The young maidens would gather in the fields and make their flower crowns so then they could give it to the boy that they liked to symbolize the union of that night. So what you're going to need to make your flower crown is, of course, your flowers. Now, traditionally, you go to the meadow and you pick your flowers that you want, and they're made out of beautiful herbs and greenery and everything else. I, however, don't have a meadow, city witch here, so I don't really have a meadow. But Jewel has a great deal on flowers, so if you are a city witch like me, go to Jewel. They have a great price. I know it's not super traditional, but they have pretty flowers. So I chose these flowers, these red and white flowers, because they're gonna match really nicely with the folk garment that I'm going to be wearing for Kupala, which is later on in the evening. And if you follow me on Witches and Pagans and Ninos, please do, because I'm going to be posting a really big extensive blog on my celebrations, the traditions, and everything else with my outfit on there. And it's going to be really special and awesome. So you're going to need your flowers. I don't even think we're going to need this much, to be honest. I bought 2 bouquets, and this is quite a hefty amount. So I will be decorating my altar and the table with some of these flowers. You're going to need some scissors to cut down the flowers and different things. And you're going to need a bag for your garbage. And also, here's a little trick, but you're going to need some thread. And this is called invisible thread because it's very thin and very white. When you're sewing, it'll be just invisible. But when you're making a flower crown, it's just as well for stability. Now, traditionally, you don't use that because it's a weaving technique that they use. However, this is just good for making sure it's stable. And I'm going to keep my flower crown on my altar for a while. So I want to make sure that it's as stable as I can get it. So if you have all your materials, let's begin. So you're going to start off with the biggest stem that you have. And then just grab some other stems. And then you're going to wrap it around just like that. And then you're just going to keep wrapping it around. Now, you're going to want to move down the flowers. Every time you add a new flower, you're going to keep moving it down, and you're going to see the stem grow longer and longer. And like I said, I want to make sure that I keep the flower crown. So every flower that I add, I'm going to be securing it with thread. And I know that's not traditional, I know. But I want to make sure that it keeps for a long time and it doesn't fall apart. So I'm going to be hanging it above my altar. So I'm just going to be securing it with some thread, as well as my own technique. So there we go, some thread and some flowers. And then you move on. And you're going to keep doing this basically. It's all a matter of selection too. You have to kind of select which ones go next and so on and so forth. And you're going to kind of keep moving down with the flowers, and you're going to see that the flowers will get bigger and then the crown will also get longer. Make sure the flowers, especially if you're working with these, they're like cluster flowers, make sure that you kind of move them down into the crown. Sometimes they tend to pop up, but there you go. So you're going to keep doing that until you get all the way down into the crown. And if you want to secure it with string, my little technique, go right ahead for that, because then the flower crown will keep longer and it will dry more evenly. But that's completely up to you. I plan to keep this for as long as I can and then probably use it in some spell work later. So that's completely up to you. So I'm just going to wrap some thread around this. Make sure it's secure. So we're just going to continue on to do this, and then once I'm done, I'm going to show you guys how I connect the flower crown together. So after about 20 minutes of weaving and things, this is what you're going to come up with. It's going to look like a wreath. And I noticed that the red flowers were actually giving me some trouble. They kept snapping off. And so I secured it with string, made it a lot easier. So I didn't use quite as many red as I wanted to, but I'm still pretty happy with it. So now comes for the sizing. Obviously this is huge. So just, you're gonna wanna connect it where you think about your head is right, and then you're gonna wanna, flowers everywhere, you're gonna wanna put it on your head and see if it's going to slide off. You're gonna want it to sit right on top of your head, not sliding off. So this is a little too big. So I'm going to push the flowers in a little further and see, okay, that's perfect. I have an incredibly small head, oh my God. Anyways, so to connect the flowers, I'm going to use the string method because it's the most easiest, and that way you don't have to ruin your flower crown. That's the method that I feel the most comfortable with. So you're gonna grab some thread again, and you're gonna go right where you're joining the two ends together and just do like a loop knot. Make sure that you're holding a very firm hold onto the flower crown, and then you're just gonna knot some string around it. And you're not gonna be able to see the string, don't worry about that. But if you wanted to add some ribbon, that's perfect. That's gonna be a perfect little addition to your flower crown. So it's basically all about your creativity. So I'm gonna knot it a couple times just to make sure that it does not slide off. And then it's nice and tightly joined together so it doesn't come loose. That is definitely something that you want to make sure. So I'm just going to knot it a couple more times because I definitely don't want this flower crown to come apart. It was a lot of work and everything else. I'm just gonna wrap the string around it. And there you go. So that's my flower crown that I made. Probably the most untraditional way of making one. I basically weaved it together with string, and you could see the string kind of on the inside. But it's the easiest way, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to make a flower crown for Kupala, for Litha, for summer solstice, whatever you want to do. So, you know, can't wait to see everyone's celebrations, and again, look forward to my blog. That's on Pagan and Witches Aminos. I'm on a bunch of other amino groups, so look forward to that. And until next time, I will see you guys.